And thanks to our community credit union, we have the sheriff sit down this week and every week at this time. And I'm welcomed in by Mason County Sheriff Casey Salisbury, as well as Ryan Sperling. Morning, guys.
Morning. Morning.
First things first, Belfair Parade. Tell me a little bit about it. It was yesterday, and how did everything turn out? The tree lighting, all that good stuff?
It was a great day. Thank goodness it wasn't raining. It was a very nice evening for it.
And again, about a half an hour. It seemed a little longer than that.
Yeah, and it was honoring our veterans. So I think was the important part of that. Was there was a specific part of that was to honor our veterans.
We had heard that there were actually 29 entrants in the parade. The last 5 years, it's grown from just a little booster band club to quite a community event.
Yeah.
And Susan Odette and all the people that have been involved with it have just done a great job. It was hosted by Troy yesterday.
You
and
didn't need microphones or
no.
anything.
Troy Jasmine,
Troy. He yelled the whole parade round.
He did a good job. People read poems, different things, a lot of singing going on. Quite the stage event.
Very cool.
I'll tell you what I noticed.
Yeah.
Kind of a small thing. I don't know if anybody else would notice this but us. The drummers, and I believe it was in the junior high band, those kids were awesome.
They were really
Drumming
good.
The band, I mean, they were really squared away.
High school as well, they were really
high
good.
school, but the drummers were, it was just weird. They were just so on. They sounded great.
That's awesome.
When they went by, it was just an interesting thing to hear them. It's like, wow, they sounded sharp.
Good.
And we had a couple sitting down next to us that just moved here, retired, and moved from another state. And they came down just to watch the parade because they love the small town activities. And it was just interesting talking to them, wanting to come. They said they'd been to a small town parade that it consisted of one group, so they were just really delighted to be involved in small town America.
This week is the downtown Shelton Parade. You guys going to be involved in that
Yes.
as well? Okay. Very
Thank
good.
you also, the people in Belfair. I can't count how many times Chief Drackaby and Chief Sperling and I and a number of other deputies were up there, but we were kind of close in proximity to how many people came up and thanked us for our efforts and for the efforts of public safety in the North End. I mean, that is really nice because we're spread really thin. And I think those people realize that, but it was very, very kind of the numbers of people that were coming up and recognizing our deputies and the work that the deputies are doing up there. So we really appreciate that.
It's a lot of hard work, and we've been focusing on some of the great life-saving work that some of your fellow officers in the Sheriff's Department have received accolades over the year. We got a couple more to share. Ryan, you got one for me?
Yeah, I do, and it's kind of appropriate because as we come close to the Christmas season and DUI accidents and different things like that, one of the life-saving awards I wanted to go over today was one with Deputy Chris Mondry. He had responded to a car smashing into a house, assisting the State Patrol. And when he got there, the woman that was involved had a life-threatening arterial bleed. So she was bleeding out very quickly with a brachial arterial bleed. Mm-hmm. And Deputy Mondry jumped right into it, was able to restrict the blood flow, and she was eventually transported and then flown by airlift to Harborview, and she survived.
Wow.
So it was. The State Patrol had commented as well that if he hadn't gotten in there and limited that blood flow during those initial moments, she may not have made it.
Those are life-saving, fast decisions that need to be made in a moment's notice. So, Sheriff, how many hours of training and understanding of situational awareness got Officer Mondry to that point where he could, just like that?
I think every situation is different, and I would tell you that there's always a risk benefit to everything that you do like that. Mm-hmm. And I think that I'm pretty sure that this is Chris's second or third life-saving award. I know that one of my first years here, Chris went down over a bank for a car that the woman had fallen into a pond or a mud thing of water, and the bank was caving in. And Chris also, that's been quite a few years ago, I think Chris received a life-saving medal for that, and I think another one. It's something you do. I don't know how to explain that because some of the stuff we don't train for.
Sure.
But you do the best you can with the resources you've got, and if you're the only one there, and a person just has to have those capabilities and believe in themselves that they can do that. And Chris is one of them that's done a great job.
He's one of those guys that seems to be there a lot. I mean, he didn't get life savings awards for two events that occurred, I think 2 years ago. Because both of them ended up dying, but he was right on the spot. Mm-hmm. One had been shot in the chest, and he was putting pressure on that because they had a hole through their lung. Wow. And it's a sucking chest wound is what it's called because air is going in, and he was dealing with that. She unfortunately didn't make it, and then the next week he was the first one on that head-on collision in front of PUD, and he did life-saving measures, but unfortunately the injuries were too severe. She didn't make it in that. And those were two just in 1 week that
Yeah.
Chris happened to be the first one on the scene. So
Wow.
he's been through a lot of this type of stuff, and he's had a lot of training as well.
When it comes to these holiday seasons, it's darker a lot more now, and the rate of calls increases in the holiday months because of not only the weather conditions but potential package theft and things like that. What are some things that folks, it takes, as we talked about, time to get from here to there around the county. What are some ways that the neighbors, friends, families, and communities can band together and keep their eyes open, things like that?
If you're in proximity, especially neighborhoods, and you've got packages being delivered and things like that, it always helps maybe if a neighbor can keep an eye on your house or pick that package up, or if you can coordinate with the carrier to know when you can be there for some of those things, especially the really expensive items. I can tell you recently, as recent as last week, we had an issue with that. And people just follow the UPS truck around. When they drop the things off, these people seem to just pick it up. And that becomes problematic. And obviously, we don't have enough deputies to cover every parcel service carrier that comes into Mason County and every stop they make during the day. And it becomes very challenging. And it is important to kind of keep an eye out in your own neighborhood. We talk about this all the time.
Yeah.
So it is important.
Are these video doorbells and cheaper, not cheaper in the sense that they're low quality, but they've come down in price, these security systems that allow for neighborhoods to even communicate? Have you noticed those have been a benefit to areas, or?
They have. They've also helped us solve crimes, and we encourage people to make sure if you can get some cameras, and then if somebody does a burglary or something like that, we will ask if they have it, and we'll use that. The community's been fantastic. We've sent some things out, help us identify, and people have been identified very quickly. The community jumps right in with both feet on that one.
Very nice.
We've worked for years with that, with our block watch programs in our different areas of the county. And it's interesting that those areas that have a block watch that's formed and working and they meet, we don't have as many problems in those neighborhoods.
Yeah.
So it must be working. I mean, I don't know what the statistics are in that, but I can tell you that the community block watch areas that we've worked with for years that are actually watching each other's places and communicating real well with each other, they don't seem to have the problems in the neighborhoods that others do. So they do a great job.
Mason County Sheriff Casey Salisbury, Ryan Sperling, good to see you guys.
Thank
Good
you.
to see you.
And we'll see you on the parade route this weekend.
Yes.
Very
Yes.
nice.
Thank you.